everyone. To start with, the four main attitudes in personal relationships. Being passive, aggressive, or manipulative can lead to misunderstanding, resentment, or conflict. It's more effective to react calmly, showing respect for both yourself and other people. Let's find out more about characteristics of these four attitudes: passivity, aggression, manipulation, and self-assertion. To start with passivity. Passivity is characterized by a desire to remain uninvolved. Passivity means doing everything you can to avoid resolving problems or making decisions. Aggressiveness. Aggression may reflect to fear of other people, a desire for revenge, or a build-up of frustration. Aggression behavior or aggressive behavior can be expressed in a need to dominate others, always be right, show yourself to be the best advantage, often by opposing, ignoring, or putting other people down. Manipulation. Manipulation is an attempt to influence the thoughts, attitudes, or behavior of others to meet hidden objectives. There are different things to look into manipulation, like flattery, using false praise to achieve your personal objectives. The person on the receiving end of the flattery may remember it as somehow unwholesome. Conspiring could also be the second one. Hinting, implying, spreading rumors, putting other people down, making other people lose face, using humor to detriment of other persons, making other persons feel bad and then coming back to reassure them. Using caricature could also be a way of manipulation. Taking something someone has said and exaggerating it by only not taking into account parts of what they said. Blaming, making another person feel insecure, making them feel guilty and unsure about themselves, and offering advice about what they ought to do. Passive people lack the courage to state their objectives. Aggressive people state their objectives without taking anyone else into account. Manipulative people conceal their objectives and use underhanded methods to achieve them. They lead others where they want them to go without revealing their own hidden motives. Take a few moments to reflect on your own behavior. Are you ever manipulative? There is a difference between influence and manipulation. The ability to influence people is a useful skill. It helps you get what you want and meet objectives without harming other people. Manipulation is underhanded and people may be harmed by it. The next one is self-assertion. Adopting the right attitude to be more efficient and work more effectively with other people. Become more assertive yourself in your personal relationships. Being able to assert yourself is a state of mind and a personal philosophy. It shows a willingness to engage in relationships on the basis of cooperation. It's about stating your position constructively, defending your own position while respecting those of other people, calming the right to your own perceptions of the truth, ideas, needs, and desires. Working with other people on the basis of arrangements that are acceptable to everyone. Trusting people as much as possible. Being comfortable in one-on-one situations and in group. Developing negotiated solutions and seeking realistic compromises in the event of disagreement. The four main attitudes in personal relationship which we just discussed, few points to remember. Avoid passive, aggressive or manipulative behavior. these attitudes can lead to misunderstanding, resentment, and conflict. Be assertive based on relationships of trust with other people. Stay true to yourself. To develop strategies for moving away from ineffective attitudes, to assert yourself more effectively and move away from ineffective attitudes, you need to develop some strategies for being less passive, less aggressive, and less manipulative. Let's understand each one. Being less passive. The passive person runs the risk of getting into a destructive, vicious cycle. The passive person feeling frustrated in relation to their needs and aspirations, frustrated at not achieving what they would like to, they become upset. They feel defeated, powerless, and irritated. Eventually, they become angry. They either turn the anger in on themselves or they explode in a way that is both ineffective and disappropriate. Being less aggressive. The first thing you must do to become less aggressive is to pay attention to your level of negative emotions. As soon as negative emotions are triggered, take your time and resist the temptation to attack. Take a breath. Stop what you are doing for a few minutes and think of another, more cooperative solution that's positive for both you and the other person. Being less manipulative. A behavior you will want to watch out for as a tendency to manipulate others. Get straight to the point without beating around the bush and without relying on intermediaries. Reflect. Prepare your appointments with your co-workers beforehand. If you don't share their views, just say so. Clarify your needs and objectives for the appointment. Take a position. Take a position by asserting yourself calmly. Accept that other people have the right to positions that are not the same as yours. State your point of view. Be the first to speak and state your positions. Don't hesitate about stating your personal point of view, taking a position or making a choice. Cooperate. Don't avoid problems. If you are embarrassed, say so. Cooperate with other people. To develop strategies for moving away from ineffective attitudes, few points to remember. If you want to assert yourself more and more effectively in your environment, first take a look at yourself. What are your weak points in terms of passivity, aggressiveness, or manipulation? Which strategies could you use in the short term? Beliefs and values. Beliefs and values are important in terms of personal development. They influence our methods of communication. So it's essential that you know your own values and beliefs. You are going to understand the concept of values. Take another look at your personal or professional values. Understanding the concept of value. To understand more about values and beliefs, it's important to identify at what level they sit in your personal consciousness. Each level is a starting point for personal reflection, which enables you to understand yourself better. Increased self-awareness can help you become more effective in your interpersonal relationships. A value is what is defined as good, true, or beautiful according to personal or social criteria. Values act as a benchmark or moral principle. They are also what makes someone worthy of esteem on a moral, intellectual, physical, or emotional level. Taking another look at your personal and professional values, values play a significant part in putting desirable behaviors into practice. This exercise will build your self-awareness so you are better able to act on values that are important to you. People may share the same values but not agree on how to put them into practice to satisfy these values. This can hinder comprehension and communication, or even create conflict. Adopting a behavior and being able to assert yourself to improve a particular situation are only possible when the behavior reflects your values. To assert yourself while staying true to yourself, you must have a thorough understanding of your fundamental values. You can then make them count in your interactions with other people. Developing strategies for moving away from ineffective attitudes. Points to remember. Values defined in accordance with personal or social criteria are moral principles that guide your behavior. To assert yourself fully while staying true to yourself, you must have a thorough understanding of your fundamental values. You can then make them count in your interactions with other people. Act in accordance with your personal values in order to communicate better and be more effective in your relationships. Now let's understand a bit about communication skills. The three tools for effective communication: nonverbal synchronization, plain speaking, and effective listening. You're going to learn how to improve your nonverbal communication, express yourself openly, plain speaking, what we call, and also listening effectively. Improve nonverbal communication. To help you understand synchronization, you learn about 3 levels of interpersonal communication, the art of synchronization, and how to synchronize with someone. The 3 levels of interpersonal communication. There are 3 levels of communication in any basic transactions between people: the nonverbal, the paraverbal, and verbal. Nonverbal, it's typically general body posture, gestures, facial expression, which counts up to 55% of the communication. Paraverbal, which includes voice, tone, pace, and flow, this takes up to 38%. And verbal, which we talk about words used, is about 7% of the overall communication. To explore the art of synchronization, nonverbal signals can be used to communicate more effectively. At a subconscious level, nonverbal signals convey the message, "I'm just like you." Mirroring body language and facial expressions ensure that the people talking to each other get continuous feedback as they communicate. The two people in a conversation interact like a pair of dancers. They adjust constantly to each other even though their movements may be different. Interpersonal communication is about knowing how to act and react and follow the pace set by the person you are talking to. Like a dance, nonverbal synchronization creates fluent, harmonious communication. Now, how to synchronize physically? You often use your entire body to synchronize with the other person. So, small piece of advice here. Effective synchronization is not about copying the other person's every movement, but trying to keep to the same pace. So when we say synchronizing physically, the points to remember: synchronizing with the person you're talking to helps you communicate on a physical level and the person isn't consciously aware of. Whoever you're talking to and whatever their cultural background, non-verbal synchronizations allows you to create a high quality rapport. Express yourself openly or on plain speaking. Speaking plainly relies on trust and a good relationships. Now you are going to learn about how to avoid saying things, how to say things, and how to give and accept criticism. Avoiding ineffective speaking. There are four common mistakes people make that get in the way of effective speech. Keep quiet, twist the fact, using can't, and attack. It's much easier to resolve problems when people can express themselves openly. How to say things? There are 5 kinds of statements you can share to create an impact on the person you are talking to and involve them emotionally in the situation. Objective. Your objective is the result you want to achieve. Analysis. Analysis is your own critical thinking. Facts. Facts are the truth you know about a situation. Motivation. Your motivation states what your interest is in the situation. Emotions. Emotion states your feeling about the situation. Stating the truth or plain speaking is about being able to speak consciously and responsibly about what is true for you. To speak plainly, you must be able to express yourself using one or all of the statements of truth. The facts, your analysis, your emotions, your motivation, and of course, your objectives. Making and accepting criticism. Giving criticism can be difficult. In fact, we often hold back from criticizing because we don't want to risk harming our relationships. In your opinion, which actions are helpful for constructive criticism? Base your criticism on indisputable facts. Avoid words and phrases like always, never, or again, which are exaggerations. Avoid humor or irony. It can be interpreted as sarcasm or even contempt. Never criticize people in public. Instead, find a private moment to speak to them. While giving criticism is hard to do, it's important. Constructive criticism helps the people realize their mistakes and may prompt them to change. Criticism for its own sake should be a sign of aggressiveness. Criticism to provoke a change is professional. Constructive criticism helps people move forward and stay on track. It's better to deal with one criticism at a time. Don't let grievances mount up. Avoid using you because it can sound accusatory. It could make the person defensive. Instead, use I to involve yourself personally. For example, instead of saying you're late delivering this work, say I have noticed your work is late. Can you tell me what's going on? Express yourself openly. The plain speaking points to remember. When you don't speak plainly, it's much harder to resolve problems. Your openness will help others to be more open too. They'll be more willing to share their feelings, opinions, and ideas. When you speak plainly, you can convey a feeling of trust, make communication more effective, improve the quality of relationships. Listen effectively to communicate better. What is effective listening? Effective listening means mindful and actively hearing and attempting to comprehend the meaning spoken by the staff, people, a customer, whomever you're interacting with. Absorbing information, acknowledge that you have heard and understood to increase our understanding. How do we do it? Listening. This is the first essential step of ability to perceive sound with attentiveness and concentration. Comprehending. Understand what the customer or a person you're speaking has tried to convey. This activity can be described as observing or grasping. We use our knowledge, experience, perception, and cognitive power, which is problem solving. Third one is responding. Responding to a message takes place to show that the message is being received and comprehended. A few tips to enhance your listening skills. Give your full attention to the conversation. Maintaining an eye contact is very important during a conversation. Let the speaker finish before you begin to talk. Listen for prominence details. Ask questions. Focus solely on what the speaker is saying and minimize internal distractions.